Hi, welcome to Nuclear News. I am Katie McCormick. Today we are going to be talking about nuclear weapons and radioisotopes. A radioisotope is an isotope that is radioactive, meaning it has an unstable nuclei in which the atoms are constantly changing. Since they have different numbers of neutrons, isotopes of the same element may have different amounts of radioactivity. And now on to other news. And now, going live to Arlington High School for students' opinions on nuclear weapons. Excuse me, how do you feel on nuclear weapons?
Nuclear weapons? I'm not too sure. How do you feel, man? I say, nuclear weapons can wipe out life on Earth. We believe it's a waste, for what it's worth. Trillions are spent just making these bombs. But answer me this, what if something goes wrong?
Well, you got the heat wave, pressure wave, and radiation. Vaporize at the hypocenter, you're going to need some ventilation. Long and short-term injuries from the nausea, vomiting in and out the mouth. Of course it's going to harm you with the loss of blood cells, birth defect and infertility, leukemia, and cancer is a strong possibility.
But listen, they say more results appear over time, but how much time did they have in mind? You see people suffering, what do? Tons of lives affected negatively. What's the positive view?
The explosion of multiple atomic bombs could result in a nuclear winter, in which clouds of dust and radioactive material would travel into the Earth's atmosphere, blocking out sunlight, and eventually disrupting the food chain. This could result in a mass extinction of life, including human life. Thank you, Katie.
And now introducing Senator Oscar Leese and nuclear scientist Kenny.
Japan would never have surrendered, so when you think about it, we are actually saving thousands of American lives, and the Manhattan Project is completely justifiable.
What about the numerous negative health effects that will affect thousands of Japanese citizens, as well as those in other countries, such as long-term cancer, infertility, and potential birth defects?
It's a small price to pay in order to achieve the larger goal of winning the war. Long-term, people are more sick from fear than the radiation or fallout itself.
Actually, studies of the survivors of bombings at Hiroshima and Nagasaki have shown that long-term effects are widespread and severe.
Still, now that the world has seen our nuclear strength, it could prevent future wars and the need to resort to nuclear warfare in the future.
If other nations had nuclear weapons as well, they could strike the U.S. first with little fear of repercussion.
But only 7 countries in the entire world have the capability for nuclear warfare and of using nuclear weapons. Together we can negotiate peace in order to prevent a third world war and nuclear holocaust.
And thank you. Now back to the news. And now Lily Stephanopoulos in the helicopter. Lily, how are the conditions there?
Hi, I'm Lily, here in the Nuclear News helicopter flying above the devastation of the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima just 6 months ago. Here we are closest to the hypocenter of the bomb, where everything was immediately vaporized by temperatures up to 500 million degrees Fahrenheit. Outward from the hypocenter, most of the casualties were caused by burns from the heat, injuries from flying debris and collapsing buildings, and acute exposure to high radiation. Even farther out, deaths have been caused by fires from the heat wave, less severe radiation, which is still deadly. As time goes on, we can expect to see immense amounts of radioactive fallout, a form of nuclear waste, being spread over a wider area because of winds. The radioactive fallout may enter the water supply and could be inhaled or ingested by people who are even quite some distance from the area of the blast. Radiation and radioactive fallout affect the cells in the body that actively divide, potentially causing leukemia, cancer, infertility, and birth defects.
And now to conclude today's news. We have found out that nuclear weapons have incredible destructive power that reach far beyond their original target. From this we can understand that in the context of weapons, it would not be so horrible to live in a world without radioisotopes. However, they do have other useful purposes, such as nuclear medicine, nuclear power plants, and carbon dating. Thanks for watching.